let's keep them flowing. Where do you come from? Where are you going? What are you feeling tonight? And what are you showing? Where do you come from? 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 Where are you going? What are you drinking tonight? Let's keep them flowing.
And we're live. What's going on, everybody? This is
everybody.
Cloud and Console review panel. I'm here live with some awesome co-hosts leveling up the panel. Simply Pwned Gaming, good morning. Great to see you. And Ray the Gaming Cyborg. Hello, hello. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, no problem, man. This is going to be a great discussion, man. I've been wanting to
I've
been wanting to discuss Cyberpunk for a while. So,
yeah.
All right, well, let's get into it. First of all, you can do some things if you're new to the channel. Feel free to like, sub, share it out. Goes a long way to supporting it. Appreciate that. Also, you can support all the hosts in the panel. Their links are in the description. Feel free to click on those. Go over, like, sub, all that good stuff in the house. Yes, Pika's in the house. Look at that. You got me saying in the house. And Doragon. Good morning, good morning. Yes, yes. Well, let's talk about everyone's game DLC of the year. Oh my goodness. This thing was amazing. We'll see how the panel feels about this game over the course of these questions. We're going to dive deep into this. So first of all, I want to hit off one of the biggest things that this game comes hitting us with is visual performance, visual presentation. I played this on the GFN 4080, GeForce Now, so I was able to crank up all the settings to high, max, ultra, and really pump out a lot of great visual performance and fidelity. It looked fantastic to me. One of the best looking games I've seen. How are your thoughts on the visual performance of the game? And SPG, I know you're raring to go, so I'm gonna start with Ray first, and let me know what you thought of the visual performance.
Visual performance, man. I mean, turn the lights off. Just have your screen or your TV screen, and just enjoy the beauty of the ray tracing, the lights, especially. I mean, just Dogtown, driving around Dogtown, was amazing. The graphics, visuals were on par, like something you just don't see in other video games. I'm gonna leave it at that. Just excellent, excellent.
Nice, thank you. And SPG, what are your thoughts on the visual performance that you felt experiencing this game?
all right. Well, going all the way back to the original release of the game, visually, the game is stunning. There was some bugs. Some people had some issues, especially on the older consoles and stuff. But they did a remarkable job. And then on PC, we ended up getting an update that added path tracing and all kinds of ray tracing
2.0,
bells and whistles.
2.0.
And they also did the 2.0 update. But for visuals, character animations look amazing. Character interaction when you're doing dialogue and stuff is compelling and makes you want to participate or listen. Um, they just did a phenomenal job. They really did, and they did all this in the Red engine, which is their own engine, the same engine that created The Witcher 3. So it's quite remarkable in my mind of everything they achieved with Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I would absolutely say that. I've never even heard of path tracing before being performed in any other game. I
Yeah,
think this
basically
was,
it became a
yeah.
tech demo pretty much for a whole bunch of high-end rigs with high-end GPUs. It became a tech demo of how pretty games could be in the future. And it is ahead of its time. It even brings my 4090 to its knees, or did before the 2.0 update, because they tweaked some stuff and made path tracing run a little better. But it is it's not even a mode they expect you to play in. It is basically a tech demo for what is possible. It's pretty cool.
And path tracing is, in layman terms, just so one, I guess I understand it again, because what I understand is it's just what the sun would do in reality, and that's what they're
So what ray tracing does is it's like an algorithm that goes, where would the lights be at? Okay, we think it would be here, we think it would be there, blah blah blah. What this does is it takes the actual source of the light and it paths where those ray beams go, what they would reflect off of. So it's a much bigger calculation, if you know what I mean. They're not faking it as much. They're actually following the paths of the rays and trying to get real reflections and real shadows and stuff like that off of it. It's really, really neat, but it's super high end right now. In, I don't know, 4 to 8 years, it'll probably be standard in most games, which would be amazing. But it's very much a tech demo, way ahead of its time.
and that's what we could see this game being. I mean, because of its large reach, I believe 25 million copies sold, they were able to plug in this tech demo and bring everyone's computers to their knees. Uh, let's jump down the list here. How does the game's storyline, in terms of Phantom Liberty, compared to the original Cyberpunk 2077 game? And is it engaging for players? And this time I'll start with SPG and we'll move to Ray to round it out.
Right on. I think it's super compelling. Now, anybody that got the original game got the 2.0 update, which is amazing in itself. It revamps the game in multiple ways. We'll get into that later. But basically, the DLC is quite remarkable. It hits the ground fast and hard, like an 80s action movie. Like before you know it, you're trying to save the president and take down giant robots. Like it's an amazing experience. I feel that the DLC is a little better than the main story, as a matter of fact. I love Johnny Silverhand. I love Keanu Reeves. And I enjoyed that story. But this one just felt more hard hitting. It felt more emotional. It's hard to explain. But they really did a good job of bringing value for that $30. You get like 10 hours of story, a compelling one at that, and there's all kinds of choices for you to make. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it holds up, and it's even a little better than the main story. It also it's integral to the game because it gives you an alternate ending path, which is super compelling in itself.
And
Um,
Ray, what about your thoughts? How do you think the original story compared to what you got in Phantom Liberty?
I have to say that I agree with SPG. I mean, I think this story was more compelling than the first story. I mean, dude, right from I mean, I felt like the Black James Bond in this right from the get-go, with the president's aircraft crashing, and just I mean, the adrenaline running to go rescue the president, and fighting giant robots. I mean, dude, oh my God. I mean, this I felt like I cheat, believe it or not. I felt like we came up because I can't believe all this in this DLC. And and it was just amazing. And then we got to give a shout out to the 2.0 upgrade with the new relic, with the gun action, the new tech. We didn't even like
Let's
the
give a
gun tech.
huge shout out to Idris Elba.
Yeah,
His
he
character is so awesome. Go ahead, Ray.
he's amazing, and it was hard. I it's just because it's like, dude, I can't betray him. I can't I don't want to, that's my boy. I can't, and it's the choices that you have to make. Are you on this person's side? The characters and learning their origins, because Alex wasn't happy when he came into the diner. She was pissed off. A lot of people got screwed over in the past. It's all the like, what happened that these people, their lives are so screwed up and everything,
It's so rich in atmosphere.
but
Like,
it was just, oh man, it was good. It was good. So definitely I thought this was better than the original story.
I will say the original story had a character which rang true to me, which was Keanu Reeves. I mean, he's big shout out to Keanu Reeves, Canadian Portuguese actor. The guy is a legend in his own right. So like as soon as he was integral into the story, you felt an instant companionship to him, and he was a rock star. You wanted to live that life. You wanted to go out like he did, and there was so much compelling action and adventure, and so much within the first story that the expectations bar for the second part was so high, and they hit it out of the park. You had Keanu Reeves back with you. You had Idris Elba, and you had a looming threat that echoes what we see in today's world, which was the Black Wall, the AI. And so there was so many elements that you could relate to, that were nostalgic, that you've seen before on the big screen and you were a part of with Idris Elba. So I mean, going into the club, the scene where you had to imprint on the twins, the behavior, and you were betting
Oh,
at the same
dude, the
time, that
control
was
of the
out of Casino
car.
Royale.
Ooh, dude,
yeah.
the
I felt
control
like I was in. Yeah.
when their car got controlled. Oh my god, that was so dope.
They they
That was good.
mocapped Idris Elba so amazing. If anybody has missed out on the theatrical trailer or whatever you want to call it for uh um this DLC, go watch it because it is an amazing thing. It sets up like a very heavy plot point of the story within that trailer. Now that's not in the game when you start the game. When you start the DLC of Phantom Liberty. So go watch that. It's very compelling and it looks great in the CD Red engine. And then to see his actual character model and interact with it within Phantom Liberty, they just did such an amazing job of the mocap.
Dude, cold blooded when he had to shoot the twins, man, and he's like, dude, it's doggy.
What did you think was going to happen?
What do you
Yeah.
think? It's
Yep.
life. What do you think? And
Oh, my heart
man,
dropped through the
I was
floor.
like, I was like,
As soon as I seen
damn.
that, I was like, oh,
I
I
was
know
like,
how this is going.
I was like, damn. I
Yeah.
mean,
I was like, am I playing with Ray? Ray the Evil here? And what up to Crow and David Wilson? Thanks for
Hey,
coming in the
what's going on, guys?
chat.
What's up,
And
you guys?
is the question that David brings, I want to jump to the panel here. Does this DLC, and you can give a small little response here, does it make
Sure.
it a full game now? Is what he's asking. And my response to it is it makes it 2 games.
Yes.
I mean, Cyberpunk standalone was a full game after the update, after they fixed it, ran fine. Now they've got a completely separate storyline which you can go through, which could be completely separated from the original story itself. So I think it's 2 games now.
I agree with you, man. I mean, the gunplay with the cars. You got the guns. You can draw your guns with the car. The relic tree, the way how they redid the whole skill base and everything. It was like I didn't experience this in the first one,
Well,
and
because of all that, I think we got 3 games. We got the initial release, which was very different than the 2.0 update. And then we got given the Phantom Liberty. So basically, like when they released the game fundamentally didn't change. The missions are the same, the outcomes are the same, your options to do those missions are about the same, but everything felt different because they rebuilt, like Ray was saying, the perk structure. You can unlock your relic points now. All this stuff seems to mean stuff now, and you can actually opt into builds rather than try to be like good
Dude,
at everything,
how do you go in and out of Dogtown? Your car gets scanned, your vehicle gets scanned. You go in there, and Dogtown is basically taken over by a tyrant and his thugs. And how you interact and drive around was different than how Night City driving around Night City is. Just a different vibe driving around Dogtown. I felt.
Yeah, I had to
I
learn how to drive again because I usually run people over, and you could get away from cops very easily. They're very aggressive now. They're gonna hunt you down and try to kill you, but
Yeah,
it's
the
fun.
cops have become relentless. Like
Yeah.
they're not Grand Theft Auto cops. They
No.
are more relentless than that now. You do not want to hit people. You drive a lot more careful now. So yes, the first experience, the first playthrough with Cyberpunk in 2020 is much different than a playthrough in Cyberpunk in 2022 than it is again now. So I agree. There's a lot of content here, and I would say, Wilson, you say 12 to 20 hours DLC. That would be for the story. There's still side missions they introduce. You had all the car related missions. You had Mr. Hands,
Mr.
right? He
Hands.
was new.
Oh man, I
Yeah,
love Mr. Hands.
that's a whole whack of side quests that are not related to the main story.
Yeah,
In
and those
some way,
side quests
you can
and those
intertwine them.
yes, well, those side quests actually change the shape of Dogtown. The
And
choices
don't
you make with Mr. Hands
and
or
don't
against
forget
Mr. Hands.
and don't forget. I mean, I did the whole sworn in. I it's like when the president's, you get sworn in and everything, but you're still a cold blooded mercenary. Remember that.
I did
Yeah,
not swear. I
and
did
the
not do the
biggest
I did.
swear.
I
like
did. I did.
like
I
the
did.
biggest theme in this game is sacrifice, and not your sacrifice. It's the people around you you sacrifice. uh Even in the main game it's the same way. I really love that they fire that point home. You're not going to survive without sacrificing some folk. Like it's
No.
just it's like
I
a focal point of the game, like through the main
it,
story and the DLC.
it hit me hard when Alex was you get a scene where Reed is talking to Alex in the bar, and she's playing music and she's dancing, and then when she got murked off, man, it I felt sad, dude. I felt so sad because I really wanted her to get out and pursue her dreams, because everybody has dreams, getting the hell out of Dogtown and getting out of the espionage business and everything, and just having a normal life. People just want a normal life, and choices.
Yeah, I
So many
mean, I wanted to sleep with Alex, and that was
I
my choice,
thought,
but she was not
bro,
she was
I
not up for it.
dude, I went back. I hold on. I went back to the save. What did I say wrong? What did I do wrong? I wanted, dude. I wanted to. And let another thing about Dogtown, guys, is all the underground and in between. I've never done so much crawling under the
exploring. Yeah.
water and exploring. Don't just think Dogtown is just a deserted, busted up city. There's so many places underground and secret hideouts and stuff in this game that you like. I'm like, you're gonna go like on top of skyscrapers to underground trails and underneath the water. This game, oh my god,
Yeah, it's a small area that's added, but it's vertical.
what
So
a
there's
profile.
stuff to do at the bottom, there's stuff to do at the mid tier, there's stuff to do at the tops. It's pretty cool, man. It's extremely cool. Um,
Good
they
morning,
make it
Lo-Fi. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're doing
like I
well.
said, they really what they did is they took a really good game and then added a 20-hour 80s movie attached to it.
Hmm.
Like it's really that cool.
Yeah, and then shout out to Crow. Crow says the quests are different as well, depending on what origin story you choose. Um, I got something blocking that, but Street
So,
Kid,
question
Nomad,
to the
Corporate.
panel. Which
Yeah.
which did you start out as for your Phantom Liberty playthrough? And I'll start with Ray.
So I originally beat Cyberpunk as a Street Kid,
Yeah,
and at the end of Stadia, I was a corporate. So when the whole this new DLC came, I said, you know what, I want to go as a nomad. So I was a nomad, life
nice.
of a nomad.
And SBG?
I replayed the whole game again. So what I did is I started as a street kid this time, because depending on what life path you choose, um, you meet some of the main characters differently. Like your story starts differently. I think my favorite is Corpo though, just because of all the corporate talk within the game and Johnny being against Arasaka, and you used to work for Arasaka. I think that's a very compelling
Ooh,
playthrough.
nice, nice, nice.
And I myself, back in the Stadia day, I did the whole corpo playthrough. I wanted to be in business and have those connections early on. And then as when I came on to playing it on GFN, I went through the Street Kid playthrough because I thought it was the most relatable to myself. As a nomad, I don't see myself as a nomad. I got too much of a cushy situation to relate to nomad. But yeah, I like that they have those three types. It's sort of innate to RPGs on the Western end design, but cool stuff. Now, what improvements or changes have been made to the game mechanics in this version? So, what can you, if you were to pinpoint two or three things, and feel free to jump off on many more, we'll start with you, SPG, that are really evolved with this DLC?
The skill tree. 1,000% the skill tree. Now they tweak the cops and they tweak the world a little bit. The AI is better. All that stuff is absolutely genuine. But um, I really think it's that. Um, I don't know. Ray, go ahead.
Go
What do you think?
ahead. All right. All right. First of all, man, I thought it was dope with the cars, and there was certain vehicles that you could get in and just hit that R1 button, just machine gun. Like, I mean, dude, I did a 360 turn. I don't know how I did it. I had some guys behind me. The whole vehicle turned around, and I was shooting the cars that were chasing me. I mean, uh, just that alone was pretty dope. The
So
car, and the cars ran smooth too, a lot smoother. And then they had some of the new cars. They had a muscle car that I had got as soon as I started this game, I had to get this muscle car. SPG told me about it. I
oh yeah.
got the car. Plus how you can go purchase the car. You remember we had to go, oh my god, all around the city just to get a car. You could go up to a vending machine and purchase your car, and your car was delivered to you right after you bought it. I thought that was dope. Go ahead,
Uh,
SPG.
the skill tree, back to what I was saying, I had a brain fart for a second, but the skill tree is vastly different. The way you build your character is different. Even the perks that are there are different now. Some of them do some of the same things, some of them don't. But the way they stack is very different than the original game. And then you've also got you've got your main stats, like I've got 20 in strength, or I've got 15 in cool, and all that stuff. They all have their own separate tree. But if you opt into something like net running, or like you use like samurai swords all the time, you have certain skills that upgrade all the way to 50. And each time you go up 5 levels, you get another like perk or another perk point, or you get another 5% to stack on something. By the time you've got all of those filled up, you are super potent. There's people that use these mitigation cyberware stuff, like the scan. I'm not even going to say that word right, but uh, that will let you like pause time as soon as you enter into combat. Everything slows way down. Um, it's just so damn cool, man. The way they implemented these things into 2.0, along with the cops, like I was saying, I think that's the biggest though is got to be the skill tree. It definitely feels like you're doing some of the same things, but it feels like a different game.
And also the fact that you could drive out of Dogtown and go back into Night City and still do some different other tasks. I One of my favorite things was jacking the cars and trying to get the cars stolen and delivered on time so I could get my full pay and just driving down the freeway and stuff. I thought that was cool.
So
Uh,
let's not forget that this DLC plays out during the main game. So like
mhm,
if you start off at the beginning, you can't
yeah,
just go to the DLC. You can skip to it because they give you that option. Thank you, CD
hmm
Project Red. Um,
hmm
but like that Dogtown plays out right alongside the rest of the main story. So
yep,
it doesn't feel crammed in there. While you're waiting for a phone call from Idris Elba, you can go do
right,
other missions. Like
yeah,
it is implemented and integrated in very good. About the time you meet the Voodoo Boys is when all
hmm
the shit pops off. You finally reach beyond the black wall and you meet or Alt, the
you're
AI.
right, right.
Um, so damn cool, man.
I love getting chased. I was getting chased in Night City. I was trying to go back into Dogtown. They said nope. It was shut down. Not only were they shut down, but they were firing at my ass as well. And I was like, what the hell? And I had to turn around and oh my god, just great chases in the game.
I will say my biggest change would be the storytelling telling elements. Now, I know I'm the resident Sony pony on the panel here, but I will say that this felt like Sony storytelling. It felt engaging and it had you as a main character. You felt emotionally connected, and the story played through flawlessly from beginning to end. If you just followed the main quest, it felt like you were part of a large production spy movie. It was James Bond, but different. So I will give them kudos to storytelling elements. I'll say that was a massive, massive big improvement from the first one. Um,
Storytelling is a big one, a very big
yeah,
one. But they also had a very rich lore to pull from. Cyberpunk has a history, much like we have a history. It's fake,
Hmm.
but somebody
Right,
took the time to write it all out. This has been a tabletop game way
right.
before it was ever thought of being a video game.
Hmm.
So there's a whole bunch of stories. Not only Johnny Silverhand, you've got Morgan Blackhand, Blackhand. You've got just Bart Moss. You've got all these characters that are insulary in Cyberpunk. Like they mention them. You can actually find Bart Moss in Cyberpunk,
So
but all these characters have a vast history and weaved a cool tapestry for the story of the world and how it developed. So uh, super cool to see them be able to pull from that and to expand on stuff and to give
and
us a
you
visual for it.
and you really feel when you're betrayed, you really feel like, damn, I thought she got me. You feel betrayed.
Oh yeah.
In this game, and you
How
just
did you
feel
feel? How did you feel when that dude shot you in the main story?
it was.
After you did all that, you just lost Jackie, and then you're shot in the head, dude. I was so pissed. I was
Yeah,
so pissed.
yeah. Yeah, it's sad, man. Like I said, even and I give credit. I mean, the Cyberpunk once again was the storytelling with Silverhand and everything and what he went through, and then they just picked it up right up and turned it into an espionage spy movie. So yeah, they did a great job.
All this proved to me is that Idris Elba could be James Bond. Straight up. He could do a great James Bond.
yeah, just not
Yeah.
Reed.
Yeah, just not Reed, correct.
Yeah, Reed had some issues.
Yes, he did. Yes, he
I
did.
tried to help him as much as I could.
I Hey, that's my man, dude. I couldn't betray him.
I
Couldn't
don't think
betray
we're
him.
at the part where we tell what we did. So
Right.
I'm gonna
Are
keep
the
that.
characters in Liberty well developed and memorable? So I want you to choose one character. If you can make it to one, feel free to expand. But one
Mhm.
character that really stands out as memorable in your experience. And we'll start with Ray here if you have one that stands out first.
Probably one of my favorite scenes in the game is when he goes and he talks to Alex, and Alex is explaining about, she got screwed before and got stuck in Dogtown, and she was just explaining, she wants to be a performer, she wants to dance, and I remember sitting down and just drinking and hearing her story, and then her dancing in front of the jukebox, and then you get up and you dance with her and everything. And when she got murked, man, I just it just it hurt. It really hurt because I really wanted her to the scene when they're in the club and everything, and they got betrayed. And yeah, it sucked. It sucked when she died. That hurt. When Alex died, that really hurt me because I really wanted to make out with her down in one of those secret. I'm no keeping 100. I thought I was gonna get something from Alex, man.
Yeah, she teased us both, Ray.
Yeah, I mean, and then just when you're looking at her eyes, and you see the just the emotion and how she's, and just, oh man, you just thought so, like I thought this was gonna be a relationship or something, and it didn't turn out that way. So I would say that Alex scene got me.
Well said. And SPG, do you have a character that stands out in your mind?
I have two, man, but if I had to pick one, I would say Reed. And why Reed? Because he's mocap so well. You do get emotions from him, like when he's sitting at the bar. He's a flawed dude. He's loyal to a fault. To a fault.
Right.
Great character, man. Reed. I would have to say Idris Elba is Reed. But So Me is a very close second. She's a very compelling character. Just for her being able to reach beyond the black wall without having to net deep dive like you do. If you go and try to reach beyond the black wall, you have to be submerged in a pool of ice so that you don't overheat and fry your brain just trying to do it. She could just do it.
Much
Pretty
like my
interesting.
PC while playing this game with path tracing.
I loved her little secret place too. You get to see some images of her life and
Yeah.
stuff. Thought that
Yeah,
was
you
pretty
have to
dope.
pick the proper path though to see it. Cuz I didn't the first time. And I've got stuff to mention about the uh the launch pad. I think there's some interesting stuff going on there at the end.
Mhm. I,
I
I
would
I could.
say the character that stood out to me, Keanu Reeves, man. He still a strong character. He didn't want to go, but I pushed him out. I got rid of him and I feel bad. I feel bad about it. And he's my boy.
Hence the
So
sacrifice. You had to
hence the
cut your boy out of your
sacrifice.
head. Yeah.
I made the ultimate sacrifice in my mind. So
I tell you who I
it's
didn't
tough.
couldn't stand was that damn drone or whatever that was chasing you throughout the building, and you had to
That
turn.
it turned
Oh,
into alien isolation for a minute, didn't it? It did, bro. It did.
bro,
It was
yeah,
so cool.
yeah,
And
it was.
that was rogue AI controlling that, trying to
Yes,
kill you. So
trying to
like
kill you.
rogue
Yes,
AI were trying to co-opt Somi,
right,
and she lost control and couldn't control them no more. So they
right,
started to run amok. Very
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, and you had to go to this room, then go to this control room, then this room. Oh shoot, you can't
And
shut
you
this off. All
sneak
right, let's
around.
destroy the servers.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Ah, it's so
The
crazy.
pressure was high, and every time you messed up, and I messed up a couple times,
I did too.
there was no surviving that. That was a
Nope.
straight impale into the stomach in the worst way.
Oh wait. Oh yeah, it was.
Um, moving on, does the Phantom Liberty address the technical issues and bugs that were present in the first one? And I think, I mean, I can say for myself, it's a big yes. I mean, now it seems to run absolutely like a dream. I didn't run into bugs, glitches, people twitching out. I didn't see any of that in my playthrough, I will say. And I'll give it to the panel. We'll start with SPG this time.
Yeah, they did a really good job of squashing all the bugs. They rebuilt their game. They spent $80 million for the DLC and to revamp their title. When it was originally released, all of us on Stadia had a pretty good time. Now, I'm not saying that there was no bugs, and I'm not saying that there was what you call it, um, no quest that may have been incompletable because of a bug or something. But we didn't get the performance problems that the PS4 and the Xbox had at the time, where people were despawning their textures and stuff. They were just standing there as polygons. We didn't have all that trouble, but they went back and they took a second bite at the apple and they polished the hell out of it. Now they're on version 2.2202. And so much has been fixed. It is a completely different game. If you ever checked it out and just didn't like it due to those bugs, go back and check it out again. It's a vastly different game. I've played through it like 5 times now, and uh, it is a vastly different experience the 5th time around for me. Just because of all the changes, all the perk changes. They've added weapons, they added vehicles, they added driving combat. They revamped the police system. Before, when the game originally come out, you would shoot a civilian on the street and a cop would spawn behind you. He would just
Right.
spawn on you.
Spawning.
You could shoot your gun in the air and all of the audience or all of the NPCs on the street would all duck at the same time and then run in the same direction. Like, they fixed all that stuff. It's very immersive. I would say give it a second chance, definitely. And
Yeah,
I would also suggest don't skip to Phantom Liberty. Start over is what I would suggest.
man, I feel like a straight up baller in my like my little condo in Japantown, in my apartment. I can go, burn some incense and have some coffee, open up the window, look at the skyline of Night City. Then I pick all between my 20 something cars, motorcycles, trucks, SUVs, go down there. My car is right there. Dude, this game, um, they if this particular game came out in 2020, it would have been game of the year.
Oh yeah.
It would no doubt been game of the year, man. And
If this game would have dropped this year with the DLC included, like it was just its initial release, it would have been game of the year this year. It would have been. I think it
yeah,
would have beat BG3. And I love BG3. I think it would have beat
right.
it.
And I know how this man feels about BG3, so he really means that. Yeah, this game, like I said, man, it's up there and probably in my top 5 greatest games I've ever played in my life. Just enjoyed it. It's got everything. It's got a story. It's got the graphics. It's got the I mean, it's like with the guns and like we didn't even talk about the crafting and of the guns and your weapons and your outfits, and I mean, it's just it has everything that I want in a game. My son loves GTA. Well, this is my GTA. This is
And
my GTA right here.
certain games can suspend that disbelief of that it's a live world and people are actually doing stuff. This game does it in spades. I believe the world. When people call me a choom, I feel like I'm their choom, man.
Right.
I don't know. It's hard to explain. But they really did nail the atmosphere and the believability of a live actual world with things taking place in it. They did a very good job on that. And there's a lot of games, I won't name names,
hmm
but a bunch of games come out recently that tried to emulate that type of gameplay and failed horribly.
I mean, just driving around Dogtown, man, you see people that are like on fentanyl or they're on drugs and they're bent over, they're hurling. I mean, it's just sad driving around, and then they live in these giant like whatever just the
The sky rises.
yeah, but they're containers. They live
Oh yeah, yeah,
freaking
yeah.
containers on top of containers and everything. And then what's cool is that you can go into a bar and there's a video game and you can play video games. You're playing a video game in a game, and it's just really cool. I thought that was really cool.
That
You
Contra
guys,
game with the ambulances, right?
the
Yeah.
trauma
The
team,
trauma
trauma.
one,
Yeah,
yeah. Trauma
that
Trooper, I
was
think.
dope. That was
Yeah.
dope. So
What
yeah,
up, Purple? Thanks for stopping by.
hey perp.
Um, oh man, it is great. But what I will say, and I hate to be this guy, but we have to take some salt here, is that the original plans they had for Cyberpunk are much different than where we are now. We were meant to have multiplayer, we were meant to have multiple DLCs. Um, I understand that that may have been pie in the sky dreams, but we were kind of given a watered down version. But hopefully they've made their learning mistakes, or their
Well,
learning and their mistakes, and now we're going to see a new version in Cyberpunk 2 is what we can hope for. But what do you feel about them promising us the sun and we got the moon type of situation?
well, it was a proof of concept. It's a brand new IP. I would have loved some multiplayer. If I could jump and raise whip and shoot people as he's driving, or vice versa, that'd be. Well, I mean, we'd be crashing because we suck at driving, but
Yeah.
I would definitely be doing that, man. That would have been amazing. But I think what happened is they shit their pants. What I mean by that is they released the game in a state that they didn't expect to be releasing it in due to pressure or whatever, and they had to take that second bite at the apple. I mean, the cyberpunk world is so robust, and the lore is there. Like, um, it doesn't mean it was going to be knocked out of the park. Like, these things can fail, but I think they did a fantastic job. Um, of revamping everything, and they did need to. They they really did. Go ahead, Ray.
I just learned now, just especially with Stadia and just hearing from other devs and stuff like that, is you got to understand, man. There's different branches, and you have devs, you got investors, you got management, you have to do a game this massive, you have to have the resources, you have to have the money to do stuff like that, and I think you know I they wanted to do all that, but you got to also understand they took a hit. This game was the first game ever pulled off in the PlayStation Store.
Yeah, sometimes
Um,
there's a disconnect. As Cyberpunk was released and consumer confidence was down, stock prices were up. Now that confidence is up with the
mhm,
consumers, stock prices are down. It's really funny how that stuff works. But they're planning on doing some Cyberpunk movies, some more cartoons, I believe, with
mhm,
Netflix, some more, Edge Runner stuff. I'm super stoked for part two. Um, but maybe some of the things that were promised that you were saying, promised us the sun and gave us the moon, was much like the police system. They said, depending on what gangs you're friendly with, you're going to drive around a corner and get shot up, and then you might get chased out of the territory, and
mhm,
cops might get into that chase. And then if you mess around, eventually
mhm.
Max Tech gets called. Well, now
Right.
that stuff does happen. It might not happen all the time, but it does happen.
Mhm.
If you cause enough chaos, Max Tech will be called. But
Right.
all the things like wall crawling
Mhm.
was one that was removed from the game, to where you could go up a wall with your mantis blades and then jump down on people, and that stuff was removed. Using that spider bot beyond the main story mission, you were supposed
Mhm.
to be able to keep that and use it as well. There's a whole
Right.
bunch of stuff that may have been promised, may have been alluded to, that was not in the game. I have high hopes for part two.
And then you also got to understand, when somebody has an idea and you bring it to investors invest money because of your idea. So if you're telling investors, we're going to have this and we're going to have that, and we're going to have this, and we're going to have that. Oh my God. Here you go. Here's all the money. And so somebody says, okay, we're going to keep this. And okay, guys, we're going to just do this right here. This is what we're going to work right. What about, yeah, don't worry about that. But what about, don't worry about it. Just make the game. Shut up, make the game, put it out there. There's a lot that goes behind the scenes, folks, but I'm happy with Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty. I'm happy. And I would love to play, dude. Me and you in a car running down people
That'd
in
be
that
awesome.
city in Dogtown. That would be awesome. And yeah, that would have been awesome. But hey,
Like, you can become so powerful in this game with a scan division or whatever it's called, that you can there's a perk now that when you exit your vehicle, you slide alongside it. So, like, when you jump out of the vehicle and you pause time like that, your vehicle slows way down, you skid ahead, you can go run, murder a bunch of people, and then run back to your vehicle and jump in and keep driving. Like, shit's incredible, dude. It's
Dude,
so fun.
I used to use hacks to blow out their eye sockets, and I would be around the corner and I would zoom in, blow out their eyes.
Hey, hey, and don't forget suicide. If you, dude, any character, they have their own animation and everything. You make them do suicide, they'll throw their shotgun down, pull their side pistol out, and just, it's amazing. It's so cool. It's so cool.
Didn't even, the hack. Don't even forget the hacks. Some of the hacks that you could do, you know, and have the power. Like if there's a certain door, and that's why it's so important to level up and get those skills so you can open up the door. You can break into certain cars and hack certain things and stuff. I mean, oh man, this game just
so much changed. Hacking is very different now.
Yeah.
I mean, the fundamentals still work kind of the same, but they revamped so much, and it does not excuse them for scummy business practices, as Dorgan's saying. It doesn't excuse that at all. But that's the industry we have, and it sucks. I wish it was different. But like, these shareholders have way more pull over some of these games and what goes into them than the developers, and that is astonishing to me.
Yeah, I would agree. And what up? Good morning, Kelly Drew Vos. Thanks for jumping on in.
Kelly.
Now, how does the game world and setting of Phantom Liberty compare to the Night City original game? I'm talking, how does Dog City feel? And you alluded to it, the verticality, the layers, but how does it feel compared to Night City? Now, sheer size, Dogtown is obviously smaller. I enjoyed how they put the loading screen behind your security scan. I thought that was very clever and enjoyable to go through, and it felt real.
It doesn't pull you out of the world. Yeah, it doesn't pull you
no
out.
Immersion is lost during those loading screens. So I like when games do that, and I do appreciate that. Any more things that really set Dogtown apart from Night City? We'll start with
the lore. It adds to the lore pretty good. So Dogtown, Kurt Hansen, come over here, have a seat. I don't know why I called Chris Hansen, but the guy who's in charge of Dogtown. If you know how he got there, it's a very interesting story. He owns Dogtown. The government couldn't take it back from him. They couldn't force him out, so they just let him have it, pretty much.
Yeah.
The lore it shifts with Somi is that, like I was saying earlier, that Somi can interact with the beyond the black wall. And for all of you that may or may not know, way back in the day, there was a net, and the net was, you know, what it basically is now, but it was more open and free. Bart Moss created a bunch of demons and hounds, and he ended up crashing the net, and it released rampant AIs and algorithms and everything else onto the net, including these demon tools. And a corporation created the black wall, and it's supposed to lock out all of that bad stuff and to give you a new clean net that you can operate in without being affected by these AIs or whatever else that's running amok beyond the black wall. Well, in the main story, you get told by a what agent is he, man? I forget. Anyway, he works for a corporation, an agency who put up the black wall, and he says that the black wall is more like a trash bag with holes in it. Like, it's not as secure as you think. And anyway, Somi can interact with this black wall, and I think that's super compelling from a lore standpoint, meaning the AIs beyond the stuff that the DLC teaches you about the lore is really, really cool. You end up, like Ray was mentioning, you end up deep underground in a facility where a rampant AI actually wants to kill you. It's just so cool from that standpoint. But I'll go back to the verticality thing too. The way they designed Dogtown was very interesting. There's secrets to find. Like Ray was saying, there's places to go fight that you wouldn't think of. And there's all these relic point places for you to go get some of this ancient tech or ancient updates to your relic. It's just really, really, really neat how they pulled it all together.
Now, I will say the underground AI just may be misunderstood. I think it just wanted to penetrate you. It was just looking for some
It
love.
did. It penetrated me multiple times, man. Multiple times. Uh, from the front, from the back. Hell, it even had my legs up, man, and just went in on me,
Shit.
dude. And but yeah, it was that I will say that was my most. I'm just keeping it real. That was my most frustrating because that was like I was almost
The
at
most
this
I
point.
died.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I was like, I was throwing the controller down. I even got out of the game and I came back to the game and I was like, because I was almost there. What I had to do, I had one server that I had to destroy, and then all of a sudden I looked down and it's like a scene from Aliens. The alien busts out of your stomach and everything, and I was like, not again. But back to your question, I still love Night City. I mean, I can go to Chinatown, I go to Japantown, I can go out in the desert. I mean, it's just I can go up the top of the hill and look at the skyline of Night City, go through the desert. I mean, there's nothing like Night City, man. Like it's just something else. Now, Dogtown, that club, you gotta admit that club was dope though. His
Oh,
club,
yeah, man.
that club
Dude,
was
Izzy or
dope.
Lizzie, whatever her name is, where she comes
Right,
out with those wings that come out. That was
right.
dope. I stood there and
That was
watched that shit.
I
I stood
did
there and
too.
watched that shit. Yeah.
I stood up in the front row and I watched the whole show, man. It was like I felt like I was at the Las Vegas, like, it remind me and my wife, there was the Luxor in Las Vegas. We stayed there, and that's what this place reminded me of. And yeah, nah, the clubs, the hotels, you did have a really kind of like place where the corpos do you see how elegant and how they were like flying in and going into the club and then you got look you got all the poor people. It's kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
where
Reality.
I live,
Yeah. Yeah.
reality,
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah. It really does mirror reality.
It does.
Yeah, yeah, it
And
does.
it's up to you to decide what happens to Dogtown. I think that's so cool. Any game that gives you character choice and those choices actually matter for good and bad,
Hmm.
remarkable. Love
Yeah,
that stuff.
I agree.
Speaking of character choice, I think we're about the time where we hit spoiler alert for anyone watching, but I want to discuss the ending and everyone's ending and what happened. Um how was your ending? How did it make you feel? And what were your actions after the game ended? So I want you to sort of explore these themes as you respond here. And I am going to who did we start with last? I think we started with SPG last time, so we'll go to Ray this time.
Man, when Songbird was faintly help me get it over with. Can you imagine somebody laying on their deathbed and you got the plug in your hand and they're just telling, just let me go, let me go. And you love them so much and you know that you just can't do it. You can't do it. And so I couldn't do it. I just couldn't pull the plug. And I felt like crap afterwards because I
Yeah.
saw.
Why? Why did you make that choice? You made that choice because you wanted to be saved still. Fuck
Yes.
compassion. You sacrificed her for yourself. Much like I said, the entire game is about sacrifice, but not yours. Not yours. Other people. Go ahead.
And he's and SPG's right, man. I felt like crap. And then when you meet the president and you're like, oh hello, and sorry guys, spoiler alert. Here's your medal. Good job. And she's thrown on the bed and they're taking her away.
So you can't forget that during this time too, Johnny Silverhand's popping up and calling you like a cuck for taking an oath,
Oh
and all
God.
this stuff is playing out, and you're getting pulled in multiple emotional
Right.
directions the whole time.
Right.
It's great. It's
Right.
great.
Right. But yeah, I felt bad, man. I really felt bad. But you know what?
So you turned her
Sacrifice.
in. Okay, so
I turned
what
her
did
in.
you do? Did you call Reed for help after that?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did. And I'll just leave it at that. Do I hey,
Hey,
will
this
we
is full review. I mean, I sided with Reed the whole time. I was like, Idris Elba is the star, and I am going with the star till the end. We'll see how this goes down. And I gave up Songbird to the president. I said, "Here, you are a piece of equipment at this point. I have to
Yeah.
emotionally detach myself from you because you
Yeah.
will equal the cure for me, much like you were willing to step over my body to get what you needed. So screw you, Songbird."
Hello. Thank
Yeah.
you. And then let's not forget what happened back at the the casino, man. You know, like that was screwed up what she
My
did.
my first playthrough is very different than yours.
I
I
know,
didn't
I
I
know.
didn't see that part. I
I
didn't see
mean,
that. I had to play through it a second time because
it,
I thought Somi was the choice. That was the one to put your money on.
and I
Okay.
agree. I agree. Everything Sonberg planned turns to
So
shit.
you
Yeah,
went
it does.
red. You bet on red versus black.
I did. And what ended up happening, man, is so okay, you try to take Songbird down, and one of two things happens. Uh the Kurt and Alex and Idris, all the or Reed, all these things happen when you try to take her down. But if you side with her, you try to escape with her, and you do get away. And at some point, you have to get her on a shuttle. She's going to take a shuttle to the moon, or the not the moon, but a space station out there, to where she's going to get help. Now, what's very interesting about this quest is that in the main story, if you do the "Don't Fear the Reaper" ending, and I'm sure that you did, Rudigs, and check that out. I think that's the best ending of the game. But there's a character at the very end that sends you on your very last mission you don't complete. The credits roll, but it's called Mr. Blue Eyes. And whenever a character is sending you credits, or they are sending you deets like numbers or address or whatever, their eyes glow blue because it's transmitting data across the net. Well, Mr. Blue Eyes, his eyes are always glowing blue like that. So the assumption is, or the theory is that Mr. Blue Eyes is actually an rampant AI from beyond the black wall that's being controlled. Now, when you side with Somi and you're getting her on to that shuttle, trying to get her off to space, you can see after you wipe out the top floor, you wipe out the bottom floor, and you start making your way to the shuttle. Mr. Blue Eyes is standing on the balcony. When you ask Songbird who set this up for you, how did you get a ticket? Like, she goes, I don't know. They just offered to help. Mr. Blue Eyes is helping her. Now, why would Mr. Blue Eyes help her? I believe because he's rampant AI, and she was from beyond the black wall and had access to these AIs, and they want it's a thing. I think it's gonna have something to do with part two, the rampant AIs. But back to my ending. So I'm getting her onto this shuttle, and she explains to me that she is absolutely full of shit. There is only one cure, and I ain't getting it. Okay? She's going to fix herself. And I'm like, what a bitch. I wanted to kill her. I couldn't. It didn't give me the option, but it did. Here comes Reed. I'm carrying her to the damn thing, and Reed's standing there, and he's like, I can't let you go any further, V. And I'm like, damn. Well, I shot Reed right in the face. I killed him. And then I put Songbird on the shuttle because I thought, oh, no. She's going to get fixed. And then she's going to reach out to me with some kind of a cure. No, no. She gives you like, thanks. Bye-bye. That's it. You send her off. You can get a secret message from her, but it was recorded before you sent her. So it's not a conclusion to like her story in any way. And if you do that ending, or you do it play it that way, you miss out on all of Somi's backflashes, like Ray was talking about, where you actually got to know her, how she was recruited, how she also got fucked over by the US. It's not the USA, it's US something. Anyway,
USNC or something like that.
Yeah, it's so freaking cool, but they give you multiple endings. So I did that first and I went, "Oh, no cure? Well, forget that." So then I reloaded from that point and I was like, "Here, you can have her read." And he took her away and then I cut Johnny out of my head. But I went back and played it the other way because I had to know what happened if you tried to bring Songbird down. Um, but shooting Reed in the face, I have to say that has got to be one decision um that I like. It hurt to do that because this dude is just flawed. He is so brainwashed with trying to help his nation. But what he fails to realize is that everyone wiped their ass with him and threw him in the garbage and flushed the toilet. Like they got rid of him. They got
Yeah.
rid of him. They
Yeah.
rejected him out of hand.
Yeah.
Just an amazing story, though. This is just amazing. I probably rambled on enough about it, but it's cool.
Wow. I can't believe they actually let you shoot him. If I
Oh,
was
yeah, I
Idris
killed him.
Elba, I would be like, I'm not sure on this one. I'm
Well,
not sure I want this one to go to
you get his
production.
weapon. You get his weapon.
Oh wow.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So in my ending here, obviously I gave Songbird to the government. I sided with Reed 100% in every decision possible. I knew Songbird, and instinctually I knew Songbird was playing me. You don't have the cure, and if you do have the cure, you're just gonna scam me or rip me off somehow. So I was actually shocked to see when you submit her to the government, they do come up with the cure. And you get Johnny out of your head, you scrub, but the only downfall is you can't have any cyberware. You have to lose all your chrome and you just become this regular person. And you just walk into the crowd, into the abyss. Now some people may say, "Oh, that's sad. I didn't want that to happen. I lose all my." I honestly think that's the best possible ending for you. I mean, who wants to have all that stuff in your body, anyways? And now you could live your life normal. You don't have to deal with all that.
Until
So
some chum walks out of a restaurant and shoots you in the head. Because
I
that's kind of Night
guess.
City. That's kind of Night City. But
I mean, as a nomad, you know where I would go.
you go off with Pan Am.
You know it.
Well, here's the thing, man. There's see, the DLC adds a ending to the story, depending on what you choose. If you side with Songbird, you don't get an ending. If you side with Reed, you do. And you get to sacrifice your friendship with Johnny by cutting him out of your head. You sacrifice Johnny. But there's a few endings that are super significant. And I don't know what is going to be canon, like moving into part 2, what they decide actually happened. Because Yorinobu is killed by his son in the very beginning of the game. Okay. He strangles his son, or his son strangles the father. Yeah. And throughout the whole game, you think that this corporation is imploding from the inside out. It's actually not. Yorinobu's son wants Arasaka to be no more. He wants to destroy his family legacy. So he kills his dad. What he doesn't realize is that Yorinobu has a what do they call it? An engram of himself, which Johnny Silverhand is an engram that is placed onto the Soul Killer chip. An engram is just like a digital download of your current mind. Anyway, so Yorinobu is actually as alive as Johnny Silverhand. And as you play through the main story, if you side with Arasaka, I was my first playthrough, I was a corpo, so I did side with Arasaka for one of my endings. And basically what happens is Yorinobu's son ends up becoming Yorinobu. They take the engram of the dad, put it on another Soul Killer chip, and then put it in his son's head. And the reason that it works and he's able to do that without any problems like V was having is because it's his genetic son. So it worked.
Right.
And at the end of that ending, Takamura, depending on if you saved him or not, he is up there on the space station and they offer you something. They offer your entry into Mikoshi. And what is Mikoshi? Mikoshi is basically a prison for the engrams. It's not really a prison, but they're all stored there with or without their consent. So it is kind of a prison.
Be there.
No,
I wouldn't want to be there.
Me neither. And that's what Alt wants at the end, is to take all those engrams across the black wall. But more than that, she wants to devour them. because she is not alt and she is fundamentally changed for being back or from being beyond the black wall. And any of those engrams, she's just going to gobble them up like code. And that's what she does to Johnny in the end if you go that route. It's such a beautiful game. So many gives and takes with your playthroughs and options. It's just fantastic. I think everybody should definitely put their hands on this game. If I'm giving it a score, this version, not the original, but this version, I would give an 8.7 to a 9 out of 10. It's awesome. It is awesome.
All right, thank you. And Ray,
Yeah.
if you had to give this game an overall rating, how your general thoughts are, Evan, you're hilarious.
Mhm.
If you had to give it an
Live, man,
overall
live.
rating, how
Mhm.
would you do
I
so?
gave it a 10 out of 10. Gave it a 10
Yeah.
out of 10. I think this is one of the best DLCs I've ever played in my life. And Evan, I'm live. Stop. Stop. Go sit down. You got people in the audience. They're all looking at you. They're all looking at you and they're saying, "What is this kid doing?" I gave it a 10 out of 10. One of the best DLCs. It's action packed from beginning to end. Any uh stop. Seriously, stop. Any um like like game that just gets me thinking he's going. Any uh I mean it just I emotional. Like if you can get me emotional about a character, and there's characters that, Reed and Alex and then just the people of Dogtown, man, what they're going through. Um it's just a 10 out of 10 for me. 10,
And
10 out of 10.
for me, I will say I was put back by not having my third person mode, but I said, you know what? I'm gonna power through and I'm gonna get into this. I'm gonna be immersed. Uh, I I did it and it was worth it. It was a action movie that put you in the center of it. The interaction with the twins, the technology in the background, being able to revisit becoming a hacker again, going into a room and just got you, hit overdrive, boom, boom, boom. I got so much
Yep.
more RAM, just taking everyone out. It was a fun, entertaining game loop with great experiences and great combat. And like I said, the story really drove it home. The characters were all-star actor.
Yes.
Idris Elba really, and Keanu Reeves. Like I've never experienced a game with such star power before, to be honest. So there's a lot here that blew me away. Definitely in the nines for me. I would 100% recommend this. Man, it is an experience that has multiple hours of content, lots of fun, entertaining things, and you don't have to play one way. You can play multiple different ways. If you want to go through, cut everything up. If you want to use smart weapons that never miss. If you want to use snipers. I mean, this game has a lot of versatility in it, and I do appreciate it. It's a great game, and we are going to end here with the credits and our last thing. So we'll thank everyone for coming on out, and I want to thank my awesome panel for joining me on this review.
Thank you, guys. Make sure you follow these guys over here on Cloud&Console. Awesome stuff, man.
All right, and until the next game review, be kind and bring peace into the world. Take care, guys. All right, let's roll the credits.
Boy, try to believe in me.
but as sick as